Now, Ben, I reached out to and was like, hey, I need a little bit of help with this. And you were gracious and courteous enough. In madness, I was traveling around the world. I think I was in the States. I think we talked, I was in
Yeah.
St. Louis. I think we talked on the first
Yeah.
time or something. And I'm like,
Yes.
what the hell do I do? And Ben was gracious enough to take my call, and we've been in touch ever since. And you've been a real big help to me, so I appreciate that. And I thought I would get you on because, given what's going on in the world right now, and the fact that everyone's creating content like mad,
Yep.
who better than to have somebody on who paid for your college through YouTube? So,
Yeah.
so Ben, why don't you give us the notes, the Cole's notes? I don't take however long you want, but tell everybody
Yeah.
the story of Ben.
For sure. Well, first of all, thanks so much for having on. And it's been a pleasure going back and forth. And it's been amazing to see the growth of your show and the many directions that you've taken it. And I can only look forward to what's to come. So that's awesome. For my story in particular, it's kind of a weird one. I definitely wanted to get into YouTube. I was always a big allure to me. Like, I thought it was a very cool way to go, largely because even from a young age, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't even know what that word meant, but I knew I wanted to run my own business and build my own things. And I was seeing that so many people were doing this through the vehicle that YouTube provided. So they'd build the following, they'd provide people value, and then they'd allow that to be the foundation to build whatever business that they wanted to do off of that. So I was playing football. That was my life at that point. So I was like, oh, like I'll eventually start a channel. I'll eventually start a channel. And then injuries caught up to me when I was in university, so I could no longer play football anymore. And when I went to look for videos regarding my injury, I tore my ACL. I went looking through YouTube, and there was absolutely nothing on YouTube that pertained to that specific situation, dealing with that injury. So I was like, okay, this is fate telling me that I need to start a channel now. So I initially started making videos about my ACL reconstruction.
Wow.
And through doing all that, I learned how YouTube functioned and realized that, like, I love how these things work. I love understanding how social media platforms work, how to build an audience. So my initial start was in probably the most obscure niche possible, which was ACL videos. So obviously that wasn't very long-term or sustainable. So I pivoted into more the stuff that I had to learn to make the ACL videos. So then talking about YouTube, Instagram, stuff like that. And then that's where I actually found some traction. And then that brings us to where we are today, where I make videos on podcasting and social media to help people do the same, build a brand and business online.
Because it's an art. I mean, I'm discovering the social media side of it is driving me crazy. As I put together this thing and I'm trying to design out stuff, and you're not supposed to do things for followers, but I get that. You're supposed to do things for content. So I'm not in any rush. I'm having some fun with it, and I'm putting it out, and it's gradually, it's building. It's got a great following now. Thanks to everybody listening right now. Thank you very much. It's coming along. But to you, like, where was that light bulb for you then? That where you went, why is nobody doing this? Like, there must have been thousands of videos at that point. You had to streamline it to get your
Yeah.
niche, correct?
So, yeah. So, like I said, I started off making very obscure videos, and then I transitioned a little into like personal vlogs and like fitness type stuff, things that I definitely had a clear interest in. But I'd say the issue with that was that I wasn't an expert, or I wasn't like a 9 or a 10 out of 10 within those fields. So naturally I didn't find much success. So then when I took the approach of just making videos about anything I was passionate about. And some of those categories were podcasting, social media, and things of that nature. And then that's where I found a ton of traction, was in educating people on these subjects. And I think why it worked so well is because to me, it came so naturally, whereas for so many people, it didn't. So I think that was the real opportunity where I was able to talk, like make it sound a lot more simple for people and a lot more easy to understand.
Which has to be the way, because it's that world, that YouTube world to watch and navigate through there's billions of videos. And you were telling me, even when I got going on this thing, you're like, well, it's going to be a slog through this because it's tough to make money on YouTube now. And obviously you hit it at a great time. How long did it take you to pay off college?
For sure. So the good thing about YouTube is that there'll always be an opportunity because it is difficult. So because you don't make money right away, that instantly will take out the majority of your competition. They simply won't start. So if you have the grit to get through that, you can then start making money. For me, I made money pretty quickly simply because I got lucky where I started making videos that nobody else was making with the ACL video. So that was making it pretty easy for me to reach the monetization threshold on YouTube. So that's 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, I believe, are the minimum threshold that you have to pass. So I got to that very easily. But when you start to make more money, it comes substantially faster because it's social media works very much like this. It's a snowball effect. Once you reach a certain plateau a certain milestone, the next one comes substantially easier. So the easiest way to say it is like your first 1,000 subscribers will 100% be your most difficult 1,000 subscribers. And
Gotcha.
to give a little more context on that, I was at probably about 1,500, maybe 2,000 only like 4 or 5, maybe 6 months ago. And I'm now at 28,000. So it really is, once you hit a threshold, it becomes substantially easier, but you only get there by building a more diverse catalog and doing exactly what you said. When you were looking for that topic, my face kept popping up, and that was done strategically so that eventually if someone's looking for these topics, they're going to see me enough times. And anybody who's in marketing knows that the more times that someone sees a message repeatedly, it sinks in. So by seeing me eventually, likely you're going to subscribe.